Okay, so this is a video going over some domain problems that you're going to have on your test. If you see a linear function or if you see a quadratic function, for the most part, those are going to be just all real numbers. So this first one has a domain of all real numbers because it's just a quadratic. The only thing you have to watch out for are fractions, like number 2, and square roots like number 3, okay? What you don't want to do is divide by 0. So what number is going to make this 0 on the bottom?
3.
3, good. X cannot be 3 because if I plug in 3, I get 0, and that is a no-no. Okay, can't divide by 0. So how you write that with interval notation is you say negative infinity to 3, 3 to infinity. Because literally any number in between here or in between here, when you plug it in, it's going to actually work. Okay, the only number that does not work is 3 because it gives me 0. If you have a square root function, again, you want to set this equal to 0. That's your starting point because your square root function looks like this. So what number makes this 0 when I plug it in?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. So I'm going to start at negative 5 and go to infinity.
No, not.
Why is that a bracket?
It has a bracket because I can plug in negative 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0, and you can actually take the square root of 0. You cannot take the square root of negatives. If you can actually plug it in and take the square root of it, then you're good.
What if it's like a fraction, but then the square root is on the bottom?
Then that's when it's a parenthesis. Okay? So, and I think we've got one of those coming up. All right, if you have a cube root function, all real numbers. If this is an odd number, anytime this number is odd, then it's all real numbers. If it's even, that's how you treat it.
What are the other rules for that? Like,
That's it.
just an odd.
That's the only thing. If it's not an even square root or a fraction, then it's all real numbers. Okay? This one has a radical up top and it's a fraction. So the domain at the top starts where? What number?
Negative 1.
And goes to?
Infinity.
And then the bottom part, x can't be what number?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Good. Okay? Put those two things together. You start with the smallest possible number, which is negative 1. I'm pausing at 3, and then 3 to infinity.
So that's like 2 separate lines.
It's just one big union. This,
Can I draw a graph?
no. It would be ugly. Okay, so everything, this graph would have a domain from negative 1 to 3, and then it would jump over 3. There's a hole at 3, that's what's happening. Okay, so this graph's doing something, and then at 3 there's a hole. So nothing's happening there. And then from 3 to infinity, it just keeps going along doing its thing.
But the line will be straight from negative 1 to 3.
I don't know what it looks like, but there's something there from negative 1 to 3.
Okay.
Okay? If you plug in negative 1, if you plug in all these numbers up until 3, you can actually work it out and get something. Okay? Alright, so the next one. 6. This is where you have a radical on the bottom. The domain at the top is all real numbers, so I don't need to worry about it. The domain at the bottom would normally be 1 to infinity. But because this is on the bottom of a fraction, I don't want to put a bracket. I want to put a parenthesis. Right? Because 1 can't actually be plugged in. 1 minus 1 is 0, and the square root of 0 is 0. And you don't want to divide by 0. Okay? Just ask yourself, can I actually do this? Can I plug that number in? Does it work? And you can plug it in and see if it works.
So, can you explain it again?
Okay, so if I was just doing the square root of x minus 1, the domain is 1 to infinity. Right? Okay, because 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 is the magic number. Okay, so you set this equal to 0. That tells you where you start. But in this case, when it's on the bottom of a fraction, can you actually plug in 1? No, because it gives me...
1 is 0.
Right,
So then I'm trying to divide that.
right, you can't do it. Okay, so if a square root's in the top,
So then why does the 1 get the bracket?
if the square root's in the top, you can actually plug in the 1. If the square root's in the bottom, you can't plug in the 1, so you parentheses.
Oh, so it doesn't get a bracket?
No, I'm saying that's a different scenario.
Oh,
Okay? Yeah, so this is the answer for the one that I have up there. Alright, the next one, it's got two separate things. You've got the square root function, which is 0 to infinity, and then you've got the second function, which says x can't be negative 3. So then I'm just going from 0. Alright, so if you have something like this, just do the two separate pieces and put it together. The good thing is that negative 3 is actually before this, so this is just your domain. That just takes over from 0 to infinity. Because negative 3 isn't actually in that, right? So you don't have to exclude it.
So both of these are right?
Well, this covers that. Is negative 3 in between 0 and infinity? No. So we don't have to worry about it. Okay?
So that's not the answer.
This is the answer.
But 1 to infinity is it?
These, that was this problem, and then this is for this one. Yeah. Okay? So the next one, you want to factor out the negative, or you don't have to. What you could do is just set this equal to 0, subtract the 1, divide by negative 1, and you get x is 1, right? Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So I'm going to start at 1, but instead of going to infinity, this is a reflection across y, so it's going to negative infinity. If x is positive, it goes to infinity. If x is negative, it goes to negative infinity. Okay? Alright, so two more.
Wait, so if the x is on the outside, it reflects.
The negative?
Yeah,
if the negative's on the inside, it reflects across y.
And then if
so,
it's on the outside, it reflects across x.
Yeah, so this is what we've got. That's why my domain is negative
What would
infinity.
it look like if it was like reflected over x?
Reflecting over x would be like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if it's linear, all real numbers. Nothing's happening here. Set the bottom equal to 0. What two numbers, when you square them and subtract 4, gives you 0? 2 and negative 2. So what you do is you say, well, x can't be 2 and it can't be negative 2. So we do that by saying negative infinity to negative 2, negative 2 to 2, 2 to infinity. If you have something squared, you're going to have two unions.
Would you factor that though?
You could. Yeah, you totally could.
Okay, and that would give you the 2's.
Yeah, they do the same thing. Okay? Alright, so that's it for domain. Now we're just going to open the floor up to some questions. And this is the first one that we have. We have, this was a homework question, f and g, and we want to do f minus g. Okay? If you're adding or subtracting two fractions, what do you need? Common denominator. So, if this is x and this is x plus 4, my common denominator has to be x times x plus 4. Okay, go back to 3rd grade for a second and think about the time when you would have done 2/3 plus 4/5. What would your least common denominator be in this kind of case? 15.
Why couldn't you just add 4?
Why can't I just add 2? That's not the way you do it, right? At least come out, you gotta multiply together. Okay, so think about numbers and how they behave, and that'll help you out with a lot of stuff like this. Okay, so that is this scenario right here. This is maybe 2/3 and this is 4/5. Okay, so what I gotta do is multiply these together to get that. Now, once you know what your LCD is, what you have to do in this case, I would multiply the top and bottom by what number?
X plus 4.
Right. In this case, x plus 4. And x plus 4, and this I do x and x. So I'm going to distribute 2x plus 8 minus 4x. Combine like terms, 2x minus 4x is negative 2x, and you're done.
Did you factor that out?
You don't have to.
So wait, what? What did you do on the top?
I distributed.
No, on the after that.
I combine like terms, 2x minus 4x is negative 2x.
Well, how did you get from the 2x? And then minus 4x?
So I did 2x plus 8
Oh, okay.
minus 4x.
Alright.
Okay? So we also wanted to go over some A and A plus H stuff, right? So let's say you have something like y equals 2x squared, okay? And I want to find the average rate of change from A plus H to A. If you see average rate of change, it's slope. It doesn't matter if I'm going from 0 to 3. It doesn't matter if I'm going from A plus H to A. All right? So when I plug in A plus H, and when I plug in A, what do I get out? Okay, so if I take A plus H and plug it in here, what am I going to have to do right here? I'm going to have to FOIL, okay? So that gives me 2a squared plus 2ah plus h squared. I'm just FOILing in my head. And then I'm going to distribute that. So that gives me 2a squared plus 4ah plus 2h squared. Now what happens when you plug in A? What do you get out? When you plug in A, you get 2a squared. So what happens up top here? Combine like terms. The 2a squareds cancel, so you're left with 4ah plus 2h squared. What are you left with on the bottom once you combine like terms? What cancels? A plus h minus a is, the a's cancel, so you're left with h. A minus a is nothing, right? They cancel. Okay? Now everything has an h. Well, if everything has an h, I can make one go away. So I'm left with 4a plus 2h, and that's it.
What happened with 2h squared?
I divided it by an h.
Oh, okay.
Which reduced everything by an h. Okay, so it doesn't matter what your boundaries are. It doesn't matter if they're letters. It doesn't matter if they're numbers.
But what about the 4ah? How did you get rid of that a on the 4ah?
Right here?
Yeah.
I reduced each of these by an h. I took an h away from everybody. You gotta be fair. So you gotta take one away from everyone.